Okay, hopefully it's coming up here in a second. Okay, what about Facebook? Anything going on Facebook? Okay, so I'm gonna skip Facebook and I'll just post a video later. Uh, Facebook Live is down. Am I up yet? Okay. Hi everybody on Twitch. Looks like I'm down. Facebook Live is not working for some odd reason. So I'm just going to post a notice really quick here and then we're going to get started because then they can just watch the video. I'll post the video on Facebook later. Okay. So I'm going to just post a link so that everybody has it and it tells them where we are for today. Unfortunately. Okay. There we are. Okay. So, anyway, we're doing the best that we can, as always. You know, I swear, Monday. It's always something new on Monday, or anyway. So, technology continues to challenge me here. But happy Memorial Day, I guess. Is it a happy Memorial Day? I always find that to be really odd when people say happy Memorial Day. I'm sorry, Andy? I just posted them. Okay, so anyway, it's a great day outside. It's pretty. I hope it is pretty where you are. Thunderstorms were supposed to be all weekend, but we've had great weather here. So yay us. Anyway, so today, what are we doing? We are doing the crosshatch earrings. I'll show you. There's one of them anyway. So there it is. It's pretty straightforward. Some challenges continues. There's always a challenge when we're doing stuff like this, when you're trying to make straight lines and whatnot. So let's get started, okay? By the way, all the links to the product and the tools will be posted as always after the video. So, and in the description. And obviously on Facebook, we will, I'm just going to post the video. I'm going to save it and post the video later. Okay, so what do you need today? Let's see. You need at least 2 bench blocks. If not, you will need a pair of nylon nose pliers so that you can straighten out wires. But trust me, the bench blocks are going to be the easiest way to go when you're trying to make things uber straight. Some chain nose is always a good thing. A heavy-duty side cutter is going to be your friend today because we're cutting some pretty heavy wire altogether. A mallet of some sort. I like my little baby mallet because we're going to do little things. And that was for another project. Student file is nice, and of course your solder setup is a good thing too. Okay, so where you're going to need 16 gauge wire. If you notice, the earrings are in 2 colors. It makes it sort of interesting. You can do 3 colors if you like, or you can do just 1 color. That's up to you. But remember, anytime that you're working with a torch and you're soldering, you cannot use plated wire. So it has to be bare copper or brass or silver. You can use either sterling silver or you can use fine silver is fine too. Either way, it works here. It doesn't matter at all what you're using. You will also need some 5mm jump rings and some earring wires for if you're making an earring. If not, you can make it into a pendant. That's really great. The size is fairly small. You can deviate from the size all you want. but had to start somewhere. Just to let you know, there is a downloadable on the urbanbeater.com, and there are diagrams, because I don't know why, but for me this was a little complicated. Alright, so first thing you're going to do is you are going to cut 10 1-inch pieces of wire. So here I already have 10 pieces cut out, and then you need to straighten these. Well, I tried straightening them and I've already worked hard in them, so I'm going to go ahead and anneal it. Start by annealing the wire first. It'll make life a lot easier if I just do that. So we'll anneal it. Annealing is simply heating the metal so that you open up those molecules and make it a little bit more malleable. And we're just going to heat it until it starts churning colors. We're not going to get it red hot, so you can see, and this will make it nice and soft and easy. You don't want to reticulate any of the metal, so don't overheat by any means. Okay, and I'm going to throw it in my very dirty quench bowl. Over here that you almost never get to see. I forgot to grab my glasses, so I'll put those on. Alright. So let's pull it out of the quench water, and then we're going to straighten them. Okay. Here we are. Try that nicely. Just throw it on the bench block, like so, and roll it. If your wire's too bent, it's not going to roll, so you want to straighten out just a little bit and then put it in here. And you do want them, see, like that, it's rolling nicely, which means it's not bent, so you sort of want to test it out and make sure that they are nice and straight. There we go. Okay, checking all my wires here. And making sure that they're really nice and straight, because again, they need to butt up perfectly. I think you can see that. Let's see if you can actually see that. So here you can see they're still slightly bent, so I want to go ahead and keep rolling that until it is even. So reticulation is what happens when you overheat the metal, and when you overheat the metal, it sort of just gets a ripple effect on it, and the surface is no longer smooth. That is reticulation in a nutshell. Okay, so this one doesn't want to come. This one doesn't want to straighten out. Why? So since it doesn't want to straighten out, I'm just going to anneal it again, because obviously it's going to get a little work hardened now that I've been playing with it. Okay, so just heating it up. Some people like to pickle in between all this. Remember, I'm a little lazy, so I don't, because I'm going to have to pickle at some point anyway. And there it is. Look at that. Okay, so make sure everybody else is nice and straight. Remember, you need 10 pieces of this, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and stick some of these in. I'm going to anneal. See, I don't like these. I don't think they're that straight, so I'm going to stick the rest of them into the pickle, and I'll anneal what's left and straighten it out and pickle it again. Okay. So what's sort of funny is I was prepping for this demo. And discovered that, you know, I can't do all of the work before I go live, so I actually had to stop myself here. But notice I already did the copper ones. Okay, there we go. I can feel the wire underneath the bench block straightening out, and that's how I knew pretty quickly that it was straight. Okay, we'll throw that into the pickle. Make sure you keep your bench blocks nice and dry, especially if you have the steel ones. If you have the anodized ones, you don't have to worry about it so much, but if you have the steel ones, you're going to have to, you want to make sure you keep it dry, or else it's going to rust on you. Alright, you know what, let me do this too. Move you over just a little bit. Okay. Oops. There we go. Okay, so while it's pickling, I'm going to go ahead and file the ends of the wires that I had already soldered. I know it's a little bit backwards, but I'm going to have to do it for the silver ones too. So I'll just prep these while I'm waiting for it to solder, or for it to pickle. Okay, so I want to make sure I get really nice even surfaces. Okay, all right, pickle, 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 all done. Remember, anytime you pickle something, you want to make sure that you put it in some rinse water. Okay, and here's what's funny. I didn't realize, see, anytime you lose something in the studio, always look in the pickle, because look what I just found. What I was working on Friday. Who knew? Look at that. I forgot that was in there. And look at all these other pieces that don't belong in there. Oops. Okay, I'll set those aside. So, yeah. I have lost plenty of things in that pickle, forgetting that I had ever put it in there. So, always make that your first place. Alright, so you should have 10 pieces cut at 1 inch. Alright? So we're going to solder this using, I'm doing sterling silver today and copper. So for the sterling silver, I'm going to use hard solder paste. This is my pick of poison here. And I'm going to split these into 2 groups of 5. Okay? Okay. So this is also where I like to bring out my tweezers, because they also, I find it helpful. And what I'm going to do is simply put some solder down the middle, and I'm not spreading it like peanut butter, but I'm putting it in 3 spots. 1 in the middle, 1 on each end, and I'm facing the solder towards the other wire, so towards me right now. Put that down. I'm going to pick up another wire and do the same thing on the opposite side. So we already it will solder on this side, so you need to put solder on this side here. Okay, and this is where I like to use my tweezers. I'm going to grab that. It helps me place everything like so. Okay. So do it again. And you don't do it on the last one, but you do it, put solder on all the middle ones, okay? Alright, this is going to take a minute. This one, I'm not feeling like it's really straight, so I'm going to grab a different one, and I'll straighten those out too. And again, solder in 3 spaces. So I hope you guys are enjoying your weekend like we are, having loads of fun here. Made cookies over the weekend again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, here's 5. Oh, so the 5th one, I don't have to put solder on, I'm just going to butt it right up. And then I'm going to also make sure that the end is nice and even. I don't care about the other end. I can always trim the other end, but it's nice to at least have one that is somewhat even, right? Okay, and let's work on the other one. So it's been really hot here. Not quite to the point to turning on the air conditioning, but thinking about it, I'm sure Andy wants me to turn on the air conditioning. Okay, there we go. And yes, I'm using solder paste because it's so much easier for something like this. Alright, so solder paste, if you're not familiar with, has the flux already built into it. You see how long this is taking? That's why I went ahead and did the copper, so that you didn't have to go through watching paint dry. Alright. I did not make the peanut butter and M&M cookies, actually. I had a hankering for sugar cookies this weekend. So we made sugar cookies. Okay, so these aren't straight. I'm going to straighten them. So we made sugar cookies, and I was looking for like the simplest recipe I could possibly find. And I was so worried because this recipe was so simple. I thought for sure it was going to be a Pinterest fail. But much to our delight, I will say it like that because they were so good and they were so easy. I couldn't believe it. So anyway, so yeah, sugar cookies. Now the hand pulled noodles I did on Friday, that turned out really well. So we did finish making the hand pulled noodles, which I'm pretty excited about. But thank goodness I had done a little research on that and didn't just go with the first tutorial on it. And so it was a combination of tutorials. So thank goodness for that, because that's how I got it to all work. And it's never as easy as they say that it's going to be. It's sort of like how I do this. It's really easy. Oops. Okay, so I don't need to put it on the last one. So again, this is 16 gauge wire, and it is cut in 1-inch pieces. Okay. All right, I think you can see that I have solder in between all my wires. I have them on both ends and a little bit in the middle, and same thing for the other one. Okay. Make sure that you keep a pair of fire tweezers in hand when you get ready to solder. Oh, okay. So everybody's just chiming in, so I'm going to show you again. These are the crosshatch earrings. Okay. Yes, there's only one. I only made one. All right. So I'm going to heat this. It's silver, so make sure you heat the whole thing. But even the copper, you're going to have to heat the whole thing because you need the solder to run down the entire length of the wire, okay? And why do I keep my tweezers in hand? Because sometimes they're not going to stay together and I want to push them together. There we go. There it is. And like the middle one didn't, oh, there. The middle one didn't come together, so I just sort of squeezed it a little bit. But there is a hazard in what I just did, because sometimes if you, let's see if I make the mistake, but sometimes you squeeze too hard, it'll just fold on top of each other, right? So just be really careful and gentle with how you do this. Oh, there it is. That's a mistake. Okay, so I just pushed it back down, which is really cool. All right. And I'm checking to make sure that the solder has gone all the way through. It didn't over here, so I'm just going to heat it a little bit more. There it is. Oh, good. Okay, I know. I say it like you can actually see it. I don't think you can, but it did flow all the way down on all the wires, and that's what I'm looking for. Okay, so you can tell that this is sterling silver because how it oxidized. I'm going to quench over here on the side and stick it right into my pickle. All right, so now we're going to set these up to solder, and I'm going to put a little bit of, so you can do either, at this point if you're doing two colors, I soldered the copper with copper solder. Okay, so now we're going to put the silver on there. You can decide whether you want to use copper solder or you want to use silver solder. Either way, it's fine. So I am going to go ahead and use a little bit of medium silver solder. Okay, so I'm just going to put some right on the end, right here, while I wait for my silver to pickle. And make sure that you, when you cut this, that it's nice and square, okay? And I'm going to show you how to cut that here with the silver. So we're just going to prep this while the silver is pickling. So just want to take a second. Thank you everyone for being here. And you know, we appreciate your support. If you could help be more supportive by sharing the videos, I'd really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun hanging out here. So we've been talking, a lot of people have been asking me about what's going to happen here, since you know everything's starting to open up and people are starting to get out again, and you know, we're getting away from the computer a little bit. How this is going to go, whether or not I'm going to continue doing this, has been a question. And the answer is, for now, we still don't have an income because the shows still have not come back. So I'm going to be doing this for a little bit yet. All right. So here I have the silver. Could be pickled a little bit more, but I'm not so concerned about it because we're only soldering the ends. As you can see, my ends are not perfect, so I'm going to fix that. Pull out your heavy-duty cutters. You do need those for this, or else you're going to break something. And make sure that you cut this at a right angle to the outside. All right. Let's see, how'd I do? Ooh, not good. Okay, I'd rather cut than file, but that's up to you. I can cut a little faster than filing. And like so. Okay. If you have a good heavy-duty cutter, it will make your life a lot easier when it comes to pieces like this. And I'm going to file it down because it has a slight beveled edge, and I need to prepare this for soldering. Okay, there we are. Slight angle on that. I'm going to fix it. So I'm looking down on it, making sure that it's nice and flush to my file, because that's my straight edge indicator. So, and I always give it a little swipe across the top at an angle and at the bottom, just because it removes any sharp edges. Okay, so that goes up there. This one gets filed too. And honestly, it is a bit of a habit that I do that. Do you have to? Not on this particular one, but it is a bit of a habit that I do. Okay, so same thing here is I'm going to put, what am I doing? Oh, I'm putting solder on here, back to that medium solder. Okay. And I'm just going to put it across the top, and I'm going right at a 90-degree angle to the other wires, just like so. Just butt it right up there, and this one gets the copper one and then the silver one, and now again the copper one. Just a bit of solder. And the reason why I'm not worrying about pickles, again, that I'm not soldering. I'm not soldering on top, I'm soldering on the edges, and I just filed that edge. Okay, let me move a little bit more into camera there for you. Okay. Can you see it coming together already? There it is. Okay, so again, there's solder along this edge, here, and here. Basically at the top of the wires that you trimmed. Okay, and you're going to come at all the wires, all the units at a right angle. Okay, so we're going to heat this whole thing and get the pieces soldered. Make sure you get everybody nice and hot. And you know what, a lot of people do this. Don't do that. Notice how I'm moving. I'm moving very slowly as this is happening, and then I'm going to focus my heat. Once everybody's nice and hot, I'm going to focus my heat at those edges. There it goes. There it goes. That's good. That one's good. Okay. So when everything gets nice and hot, you'll focus the heat and centralize the heat on the joints. Gave that a second to set because we're working with copper, and voila, done deal. All right, quench that. And I'm not going to pickle, not yet, because I'm going to go ahead and trim this and then pickle. Actually, you know what? I take it back. It's going to be easier to pickle the whole thing. Why? Because I'm thinking of the little pieces I have to pick out of the pickle. So I'm going to put the whole thing in there. I'm going to put the whole thing in there, and so it's easier to pull out instead of pulling out the little tiny pieces. You know, sometimes these things don't occur to me until afterwards. Anyway, so while it's pickling, this is what I'm working on for next week's Minimal Metal Monday. So this is eventually going to be a whole bunch of links, and it's going to be a bracelet. So there you are. It'll be with silver and copper. So if you want to prepare for that, that's going to be 18 gauge and 16 gauge and a lot of it. It's going to be a whole bracelet. I was thinking this week that I haven't done a bracelet in a long time, so that was the effort. I'm going to make a bracelet for next week. It's been a little while. Okay, out of the pickle we come. So as you can see, there we are, pretty clean. Okay, so now this is going to be really, really easy. I'm just going to cut from diagonal like so, and that's how I get my crosshatch pattern. Okay, so basically corner to corner. You can also saw this if you want. Don't know what I'm calling the bracelet yet. Any ideas? Do throw them at me. You can also, if you don't have a cutter, a good cutter like this, then you can definitely take out your saw and saw it. Okay, that was an extra trim that I just did. My cutters couldn't get in there, so actually I'm just going to cut this off and then turn it. There we are. That's good. So what's nice about this is it left you enough to make the second one. Okay. Again, I'm just going to cut this off. It's easier to trim. Cuts. All right. And remember, I'm going corner to corner. See, so it leaves all these nice pieces for the next piece, or the next earring. And I don't know if you notice what it says on my shirt, but it says identical. Why? Because I'm an identical twin, but actually maybe you can't see what I said. See, it says identical. But anyway, so this is all about making identical pieces. So because we're making earrings. All right, someone just asked a question. I said something about which way to point the cutters, and what I was talking about is when you cut, okay, like here, when you cut, you want the flat edge to the side of what you're keeping. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see. So this was where this was, right? So when I cut this flat side, I'm keeping this piece is always to the side that I'm keeping, because the cut on this side has a beveled edge. Okay, and I don't know if you can actually see that. There you go. There's the focus. See, it has a bit of a beveled edge. All right, so that's why you want to do that, and it just saves a lot of filing later. All right, so here I'm going to file the edges again. I only have a semi flush on the heavy duty because I didn't know they had a full flush when I bought mine. But the ones that we sell are full flush, so you'll have a lot less filing than I will. And yes, I am too cheap to upgrade because I already own a pair. Okay. And I'm just filing the edges to take off all those sharp edges. I'm going to also put in a slight radius on the ends, like so. Okay, and the reason why it's really important to make sure that all your pieces are filed is when you cut it, like the first time I did it, I lost a couple wires off the end because it wasn't soldered all the way. Oops. Yeah, that's a thing. Okay, so there you go. And you can make this bigger if you want. You'll need to add more wires. I'm going to trim that again, slightly off before I do anything. So you'll just add more wires. Or you can use bigger wire. You can definitely go to 14 gauge or even 12 gauge. You know what would be nice too is square wire would be fun. For a lot of texture, you can use triangle wire. Triangle wire would be a lot of fun too. Straightening it is no fun, but it would make a great design. Okay, so I just trimmed it to square it up a bit. Not a great square, but that's okay. It's a demo. Okay, so now that I have it all filed, I have a radius on the corners, and what you, oh, not that corner. You'll want to sand it just a hair, okay? Because then you'll soften the edges. And I like to, again, come in an angle on all those edges. It gives me a little bit of a beveled edge, and it makes it sort of round, and it gives it definitely a much more professional look. It's not, you know, if you look at the commercial jewelry, all the edges has a slight bevel. You know, it's a nice little tiny bit of a radius, and it just makes it that extra oomph. You know, it's not so raw. Okay. Oh, that's sort of funny. Did you guys see that note from Hoo12356? They're on the wrong Twitch channel. I just saw that. That's really funny. Too bad, couldn't get them to stay. Anyway, okay, so there it is. It feels really good. So the sandpaper was 400. Easy peasy, but it doesn't really matter what kind of sandpaper you have here. Okay, so now we're going to put the jump ring on the back side. So take the jump ring, 5mm jump ring, and a little bit of copper solder. I'm not going to waste my silver solder on this, right? Just a little bit, teeny bit, just like that. And I'm going to put on the back side. I want to determine what is a good side here though. Probably this one, okay? And it's up to you if you want to put this at a diamond shape like this, or you want to put this at a square shape like this. I don't know. Can you see that? Could you see that? Let me try that again. You know, put on the back of this, maybe you'll see it better. Okay. Oops. So again, you can put it at a square shape like so, or at a diamond shape like so. I like the diamond shape. I always like diamond shape. I think it's much more interesting than square, but that's very personal. Okay. So again, I just put it on the back of my crosshatch, and then we're going to heat it or solder it. I'll move it there so you can see it. Okay, so we're going to heat this whole thing. Heat it, nice and hot, and then point at it. I'm going to point at it from this side just to make sure that it gets nice and hot and that I'm not going to melt anything else. Oop. And I sort of did. Did you see that? It sort of sunk, but it's still good. Woohoo! Okay, here we are. Okay, there it is. Throw it in the pickle, and then I'll show you how to clean it up. Pretty simple process. Sorry about the technical difficulties earlier. Sorry for everybody on Facebook. I'll post it later. I know, they can't hear me because I'm not on Facebook, but I'm going to apologize anyway. Okay, so as you can see, we have extra pieces here. You know, it was suggested that we can make a pinwheel shape out of this. If you get the download, I did show the pattern for a pinwheel. If you wanted a pinwheel instead, you can definitely do it out of this. But the 1-inch cut allows you to have enough pieces left over to make your second earring. Okay. Again, the links will be posted after I am done and the videos are ready to go. I will also put this up on Facebook once we are all done here. Don't forget, on Wednesday is the step-by-step surprise if you're part of that. And on Friday we have a new Zoom, and it is the enamel beyond the crosshairs, which is this one. It's an earring, so there will be 2 of these anyway. Okay, and it's a 2-parter. You can still get the kit if you did not order one. If we get it out tomorrow, I have them, so I can get it out tomorrow and you can have it for Friday, assuming you don't live in Hawaii. You should be able to get it before Friday. Anyway, okay, so to clean these, I'm just going to use either steel wool or a brass brush. For me, the brass brush is going to be really good here because it gets into those little crevices. Up to you if you want to patina this. You can use liver of sulfur. I personally would not be heat patinaing this because there's just so little that I don't think it's going to bring too much to the design here to do a heat patina, but I would definitely use liver of sulfur. Dilute a little bit of liver of sulfur in some warm water and it would happen really quick. Okay, there we are. Look at that. Simple. I'm gonna do the back too because I can. It's teeny weeny, but you know, I like teeny weeny. And you can put a whole bunch of these together. It would be really fun. You know, here's a challenge for you. If you really love this design, make a whole bunch of them and link them together. What a cool bracelet that would be. Oh, I didn't even think of that before. Patty, there's a challenge for you. Patty was mentioning how much she just really loves this design because she's a quilter and it looks like a quilt. So I'm going to bring the challenge, and there it is. Let's make, you can just do 2 jump rings on the back and then link them all together. Make a great little bracelet. If you know, that was also a question that had come up. If you're doing this, and let's see if you can see it on mine, and you clean up your copper. I'll clean this up, see if it comes up. You're cleaning your copper, but yet you have like what looks like a silver stain on the copper. What is that? That's actually copper solder. Copper solder looks like nickel. It doesn't look like copper. It will patina over time to look like the copper. So the thing is, how do you prevent that from happening is, yeah, sorry, I did a good job on this, so it's really hard for me to show you. Oops. I'm not always that good. But so what you can do is you can take out sandpaper and sand in those areas like so, with to remove the solder, and then that will remove the silver color that you have. If you have a flex shaft and attachments, you can use the silicone wheel like this and just work it right inside there. Okay, and it'll take it off pretty quickly, pretty easily. I would use the pink one. It's the fine very fine grit one, but it'll make very, very quick work out of this. Okay, but any of your attachments, your 3M radial dials will also do will also do the job. So you know, but your flex shaft and all those attachments are really great for cleaning up this kind of solder if you're making a mess. Another thing too is, over time you'll make less of a mess. You know, just use less solder. You'll see that you can use less and less solder, and the less solder you make, the cleaner this becomes and the better your work will look. Anyway, thanks again everyone for for continuing to be here. It's a great day. It's Memorial Day. I hope you're enjoying your holiday. You know, we really appreciate the support. If you want to contribute and find any value in the videos that you're seeing, you can do that by downloading the instructions or simply a contribution, and you can do that on theurbanbeater.com. Okay, Wednesday, 1 o'clock, we'll see you there. Zoom is still available for the enamel beyond the crosshairs. Outside of that, we are done, and I'm going to go figure out why my technology didn't work today. Okay, I'll see you later. Have a good one, everyone. Bye.